So T Brown just gave us $100 more.
Wow, I mean, just think of all the good we can do with that.
Are we starting this thing?
No, all right.
And
It's gone.
it's gone.
Coming up on this Linux GameCast Weekly, Steam goes over 9,000, Space Hulk brings the hammer, Humble locks the penguin, and the cons of censoring reviews. Then we throw the chairs at Signal Ops. All this, plus your hate mail. Let's go. And welcome back to another Linux GameCast Weekly, the show that covers the latest Linux gaming news, reviews, how-tos, and most importantly, whatever the hell else we come up with. This week, we're going to be screaming about a new RPG. Steam goes over 9,000 OMG, mothering ponies, and Signal Ops get some chairs thrown in some general direction. But every week, joining me, my friend, my partner in crime, Massa Svang, for the sexiest tongue in the north. Well,
Yeah.
one of the longer ones, anyway. And that man needs no introduction. From Porto with his rage, Mr. Mateas.
Yes.
So, ladies, what have we been up to this week? P-Man, take it off.
Yeah, I'm kinda...
No. He actually said take off your clothes.
Yes.
No, that's not going to happen. They have to donate a lot of money for that to happen. No, this is...
Someone
this
donate a
week
job.
Ha ha!
Touché. Okay, no, but this week I'm actually kind of pissed because the VGX is just ended, and they gave Indie Game of the Year to Gone Home.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah, just in a bit.
I'm
And
on
that-
the same page.
Yeah.
That and Metro Last Light did not get Best Shooter of the Year. It lost to BioShock Infinite. That pissed me off a bit too.
Well, at least it didn't go to Kill Brown People, the game.
Yeah, true that. It didn't go
COD
to
Ghosts,
COD
Ghost Dog.
or
Ghost
Dog
Dog.
Battlefield or whatever they're calling them nowadays. This was the first VGA or VGX that I ever watched, and I'm guessing it'll be the last.
This, you sent me a note on the Googs about it, and you're like, VGX. And I was like, the fuck's a VGX? What do you get this time, Pedro? Hopefully it gets cleared up. And click it into the Game Award. What was it, the VGAs?
Yeah, it's the
Okay.
VGA.
Now,
and
now
they're
it's
called
XE and more
VGXs.
edgier.
Spike TV.
It's frighteningly, bad. I mean, the
Yeah.
chemistry was non-existent. It was great when they were doing the applause, because there's, one person back there. It's like, yeah, all right. But yeah, Gone
And Joel
Home, when I
Patel
saw
was
that,
totally
it made
phoning
me
it
so happy, because so many of the bros that are watching the VGX Awards, because that's where the hardcore gamers go to get their information, are going to go, oh, it must be Kill Brown People Simulator. Let's go download it. They're going to have so much fun with it. Yay.
Oh, yeah.
That makes me happy in a special place. J-Man, what have you been up to, man?
See, I'm blissfully unaware of the Spike VGAs. I watched the first two when I was a teenager, and then I kind of lost interest. So I don't really concern myself with all that stuff anymore. Yeah, I just worked all week. That was I completely uneventful. Picked up the new Zelda game for the DS. Got another 360 controller so I can have people over to play Trine or Megabyte Punch. And yeah,
Those
that
two
was-
multiplayer games.
which are fun. Megabyte Punch is great fun, man.
All right on.
Just because you
Cool.
guys didn't play it doesn't mean that it's not fun. Anyways, yeah, my week was horribly uneventful. I have literally nothing to say.
Well, speaking of horribly and whores,
whoring ourselves out at linuxgamecast.com/podcast. I see your nice little transition there. Very good.
Zing.
But yes, we got handy e-stocking guides. You can support the American Red Cross by clicking on ads when they pop up, or join christianmingle.com. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We also have RSS feeds for SD video, HD video, and SD audio. Amazon affiliate links to click on and give us money, or more PayPal buttons to click on and give us money. Yeah, you can give us a one-time donation, $3.50 a month, or $10 a month. You know who gave us $100? Mr. Tom Brown, the originator of the T. Brown Memorial Microphone. He decided to give us $100. So thank you very much, sir. That'll probably buy him about 10 months of show note access, which you can get for $10 a month. Because yeah. You can watch the sausage before it gets made. We also have our forums, Chat Realm Static. You can sign up with any account, Twitter, Facebook, Identica, Diaspora. I don't even know if those last two will even work, but I just pulled some obscure social networks out of my ass. But it's where we are the other 6 days of the week. Check it out, post on it. Pedro Benches is the top story, and that's where we have videos of us doing stuff to Pedro on benches. It's good stuff. We also got youtube.com/LinuxGameCast, where we have all our videos, how-tos, B-reels, Android how-tos, players, and this wonderful train wreck that you're watching right now. We usually if you're not watching us live, you should at linuxgamecast.com/live. But, by about Monday, Tuesday, we have the episode out, post-produced. You miss a lot of the good stuff. Most of the good stuff doesn't actually make it into the show, which explains our severe lack of quality. We also have a Facebook page, facebook.com/LinuxGameCast, run by our resident Mexican slave laborer. We have all of 6 people on there because, Facebook. But it's a thing. If you're on there, give us a like, spread the word. We also got reddit.com/r/Linux_gaming, who has, oh my God.
What the hell did they do?
We'll get to that in a little bit. But we have a public service announcement. Ingress. So occasionally we post articles. Occasionally some don't make the cut, and Pedro gets mad at me and posts them on Steam forums to see hey, you see how good a reception these gets? And I'm like, oh, whatever, man. But anyways, you know what? I read the article and I thought, it kind of comes off as a bit too ranty for what we're going for. But he posted it on the Steam forums, and the Legends of Aetherius guys took that a bit too far. They marked it as abusive.
Oh, yeah.
So, Pedro, why don't you tell us the story behind this wonderful, wonderful tale of intrigue, woe, and butt sex?
Yes, especially butt sex. Yeah, well, like Jordan said, he refused to spell check my rant of sorts, so I decided that since Steam introduced the Steam reviews, I might as well post it on Steam. So I did. It took them about 2 days to flag it as abusive, as you can see in the screenshot there. And when they first flagged it, it had 18 upvotes out of a total of 26 people that actually voted on it. They've since removed the abusive flag because 46 upvotes out of a total of 58 people. That, ladies and gentlemen, is what happens when you fuck with people who are honest about your game. People start paying attention. Why is this abusive? Let's expand this. Oh, this guy's kind of right.
I don't get the logic behind this is, let's mark, that must be terrible sauce behind that. Of course I'm going to click on that. I'm like, that's the good stuff.
Yep.
But I think it all just boils down to, don't do stuff like that. By trying to kill it, you only made it stronger.
Yeah, take the criticism, take it with a grain of salt, and maybe use it to improve your game. That's how criticism is supposed to work.
Crazy talk. Don't.
The community manager for the game. The community manager for the game, Anthony, he posted on the Steam forums by a thread that Chat Realm member FreeJack started, and he said the flagging of that review was a mistake, and the flag has since been removed. damn right it was a mistake. It made sure at least twice as many people actually get to read the review. Good on you. Good on
So
you.
that's certainly a thing. But speaking of Steam and the rage that we spray all over it, we don't really have any rage. We just have a horse that we've reconstituted from its base parts and then murdered, and we beat it to death after we bring it back to life week after week after week. It's our Steam
Linux
Update
of the week. It's over 9,000.
Actually, it's 7 million concurrent users. Wow.
Breaking news.
Check
PC
that out.
gaming still very much dead. Back to you, Jim.
That's like 10% of the world's population.
Yeah. So, no, this is just as it says. The news that Steam passed 7 million concurrent users is just one of those
1%
facts to
rather.
throw back. That's awesome. And this just, you hear all the hype and the Xbone and the PS4s and all that and the gaming community. It's like that's cute, really.
Everyone has a computer.
And yeah. And it's really decent that we're now part of that Steam community, huh?
Yeah, we get like 1%, but then again, 1% of 7 million is still 700,000. No, wait, 70,000. Wait,
Which is
No, quiet. I'm having fun with this. Continue, Petra.
78,000.
But anyway, it's still a respectable number, all things considered, considering we're a fairly niche market. But no, yes, Half-Life 3 confirmed. Oh, actually, no. Well, you see, along with 3 other companies, Valve has joined the Linux Foundation, which is a pretty cool thing because, according to them, joining the Linux Foundation is one of the many ways Valve is investing in the advancements of Linux gaming. Through these efforts, we hope to contribute tools for developers building new experiences on Linux, compel hardware manufacturers to prioritize support for Linux, and ultimately deliver an elegant open platform for Linux users. Bam! See, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
A
what
big
actually
powerhouse
surprised me?
like Steam, like Valve, going into this Linux Foundation thing does really send a message to hardware developers. Oh, the guys who are resulting in what, like 2% of the entire internet traffic are taking this Linux thing fairly seriously.
No, I'm starting to think that Valve might be serious about this Linux thing. I'm not sure.
No,
Call me crazy.
Yeah.
You know what? I still have my doubts.
Yeah, but you know what surprised me out of all this is that the Phoronix article for this specific subject was actually pretty tame. It still had some speculation.
It only had 3 links to its own website.
Yeah, it still had some speculation, but it was actually coherent speculation for once.
How did
Michael
Laravel
Laravel.
do that? Is like Steam joins Linux Foundation. Gabe might also be from the moon. Question mark.
Well, I don't know if he's from the moon, but he sure loves his games.
Let's keep talking those numbers, P-Man.
Oh yeah, 100 more titles greenlit on Steam. Out of those 100, one of them is a benchmarking tool called Geekbench. It works on Linux, macOS, and Windows. And out of the games, the actual games, you get 38 titles that promise Linux support, some of which you may have already heard of. There's Geekbench right there. Some of which you may have heard of, like Scraps, probably Archery. We've covered those. At least those 2 we've covered here on the show. But I'm actually looking forward to a bunch of them, like Bloom Memories and Continue, Deathfire, Guns and Zombies, Crowdscape. Because how many times are you going to find a game called Crowdscape?
Presiding on Venstone's hard drive.
Yep. But yeah, I'd also like to give out a special mention to Fragato and Friends, and a belated congratulations to Dominions 4 for also getting greenlit. And on the Dominions 4 subject, if you already have Dominions 4 on Desura, you can use the unlock key to get the game on Steam too. So Good on them for that. And while we're on the new games getting greenlit, this one was greenlit a while back. Jagged Alliance, back in action.
Well, what the hell's a Jagged Alliance?
It's a turn-based strategy shooter type game from the 90s. I remember playing Jagged Alliance 2 in 1999, 2000, around those times. And it wasn't a very memorable game in my not so humble opinion, but they're looking for Linux and Mac beta testers. So if you like the turn-based strategy genre, give those guys a note on the Steam forums. There'll be a link in the show notes for that.
Well, they got a little thing
And
here.
you too
Yeah,
can
got
beta
a little
test.
thing. Back in action, choose properties, go to betas, enter. Yep, 1994. Check code, wait until the run game. So yeah, this is pretty much straight in to play with that. But I mean, old game is old. But if you like, not really my dice, but good. Hey, did you ever play that, J-Man?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. So
1999, 2000 was in the heyday of my Counter-Strike days, so
Let me tell you about
we heard
something.
you like digging, Vin.
You can dig this.
chop, chop, dig, dig, chop, dig, dig.
Yeah, I was reading over this. Described as an addictive hybrid of Super Metroid. That's a lie. And Terraria, kinda maybe. SteamWorld Dig. Well, let me tell you what SteamWorld Dig is. You dig, you get gems and whatnot. You get better access. You dig more, and guess what? You keep doing that, and you unlock new tech.
So, like, dig dug.
Yeah, pretty much. All right. In fairness to it, the controls worked out of the box. Didn't have an issue with that. Graphics, for what they are, they're okay. $7.99 if you're into like hyper repetitive, like no life simulators. Go for it. You might dig it. I mean, the art's okay. No big issues on it. Nothing to down it. It's just really not my type of game. I spent some time playing it. It's gotten some good scores from Rock Paper Shotgun. IGM doesn't count. Pocket Gamer.
It got 3 Mountain Dews out of 5.
Bonus soda.
Bonus soda.
So that's a damn thing. Check it out. Don't rush to buy it. We'll probably get around to reviewing it pretty soon. P-Man, you got any thoughts on this?
I played it for a little bit, and you've already covered most of what the game is. It's basically you just dig, go back to town, get upgrades, go back and dig some more. It has a bit of a story going to it, and I use that term very loosely.
Pedro, I hear chopping, but I don't hear digging.
I know.
There's no reason to Hulk out.
That makes... whatever. Space Hulk, Linux confirmed. So, for those of you who are fans of the Warhammer 40k, this is the first Warhammer 40k game coming to Linux, where you get to play some Imperium Space Hulks. It's a tactical... It's another one of these tactical strategy
So,
games.
like, Warhammer is just for, like, people who can't figure out how to play D&D, right?
Oh, man. I think D&D is for people who can't figure out how to play Warhammer.
Oh.
Yeah, Warhammer is a teeny tiny bit more complicated.
Yeah. But anyways, it's a turn-based strategy game coming out for Linux. It's according to their features list, they have a thematic 3D environment, single-player campaign based off the Sin of Damnation.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like my diary from when I was like 11.
I thought you were going to be like June.
No. That one's called Monkey Butt Rape, the sequel.
The sequel.
But it does have multiplayer, though.
It does have multiplayer. I will say this though. Where the fuck is my Fire Warrior port for Linux? Come on, guys. Screw the Imperium Tau all the way. But speaking of space, Starbound, which I've been playing actually just prior to the recording this episode. It is a cross between, well, it's basically Terraria and space. You go from planet to planet, you try and find stuff to repair your ship, you trade, you quest, you do all that good stuff. It's an interesting little game. It's $15 and it's in alpha.
Don't you even have interesting ways to choose gender?
Sorry, what?
Don't you have fun and interesting ways to choose gender?
You do. So, yeah, there are two races that don't conform to the traditional gender binary. One of them is a robot race, who, if the male equivalent is like a wall plug, and the female equivalent is like the wall socket. There's another plant species who the males are red flowers and the females are blue flowers, but that's all like superficial and whatnot. Doesn't really affect
$14.99 early access. Is it worth it?
Yeah. You know what? If you're into games like Terraria, it is an alpha, but it's pretty stable. My one gripe: apparently you can't use an axe to chop down trees. You have to use your phaser thing.
Yeah.
Whatever that is.
Yeah, personally, on the one hand, I'm curious to see what an online persistent world type-ish Terraria can do. On the other hand, it's Terraria, and I didn't particularly enjoy the first game, so... But then again, I've been hearing good things about this one, so I might give it a go.
Wow.
But now for the most goth-named game of all time, Raven Sword Shadowland.
Raven Sword, man, it's so diverse.
It's so fucking
so
diverse.
Diverse.
I'm gonna go buy a
There's a
rotary phone now,
T-Rex.
excuse me.
Why is there a T-Rex?
Yes, there's a fuck.
Why
Apparently,
isn't
there's
there
a fuck
T-Rex?
mothering T-Rex, and that's one of the things I was like, all right, I kind of want to play this. So I immediately yoinked a copy of it, fired it up. It's like, yeah, you want to play the game? And it's like, yeah, hey, game, I'd absolutely love playing it. And it was like, fuck you, no. I was like, all right. The mouse control just froze. It's like, Alt-Tab, close. All right, go to the forums. Boom, right there. And it's like, oh, the mouse control doesn't work while in full screen. Fair enough. Window mode. All right, game, I want to play you. And I was like, sure, just fucking with you. Kind of detected control over there, so I'm just going to go batshit haywire this entire time. I was like, all right. Close game, force close, unplug the controller, play. It's like, yes, you can play. And I did, and I was like, well, this is kind of tame. Not really RPG. And I was like, oh, wait. This is just a port of a iOS Android-y mobile game.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
it is, and a very shitty one at that, unfortunately.
And
I played the Android version.
yeah, it's a thing, I guess.
I haven't touched this at all. I have no opinion on it one way or the other.
Yeah, for $13.49, I could have done something else with it, and that's really what I suggest you do, unless this shows up in like some humbly bundly, because this, I mean, even like Morrowind curb stomps this graphically.
What about open
Any
Morrowind?
day.
Open Morrowind handily curb stomp this thing in playability.
Oh, burn!
Oh, and speaking of burning, I think we need to kind of put the horse out for this week and slide some of those charred cinders back under the porch for next
Sanitize
week.
our hands with the fire as well.
What was that?
Sanitize our hands with the fire as well.
Bless it in the fire.
Yes.
Like-
Yeah.
Or we could
coming-
just sacrifice Pedro in the fire.
We could.
come
but
on,
You know
again?
what? You know what?
You tried the first time. Look what that
Yeah,
turned out to
we
be.
needed more petrol.
Explains
But
the
coming-
10
But coming up next, ponies!
and news.
And we're back with the news. And, well, we've already sort of touched on this subject. Ponies!
Magic crystal ponies.
Yep.
It's beautiful. stop
Apparently,
staring
Pencil
at it.
Abuser, the head moderator for Linux_Gaming, really likes Secret of the Magic Crystals.
And so do we.
And-
It's our only 4-chair game.
It is. That it is. And apparently, well, he decided to adopt the game as the official Linux_Gaming game. And there it is.
Now,
Ponies.
this is great because it harkens back to get off my lawn time. You kids might not remember when Slashdot went OMG Ponies for April Fools. No.
No.
That was like 6-7 years ago. It was brilliant, and everything was OMG Pony story related. The site went pink. It was a fantastic day for news. But that was back when Slashdot was relevant. Yeah, before Dig.
Well, let's get ready
to
It's the humble jumbled blah blah blah. And there are three whole Linux games, 2 of which you have to pay over the average to buy. Have you noticed that lately? If you want one of the Linux games with these humble blah blah blobs, then you have to actually pay over the average.
Which is the case.
It really reinforces their motto of DRM free cross platform, pay what you want for charity.
Yeah.
It's
and this week's weekly bundle.
There's a weekly sale, yes. And
and
I am really upset about this weekly sale because it was recently brought to my attention that there is a Manos The Hands of Fate game, and it does not have a Linux port, and that breaks my heart. It really does. It's on Android, so I can still play it, but dear Lord, why does this not have a Linux client? Why? It makes me so sad. It makes me want to drive for 20 minutes and then cut to scenes of random teens making out.
Oh, master will be pleased.
The master says you can't.
What's the actual humble jumbo bundle? It's basically games I already own, except for Gary's Mod, but I'm not giving that asshole any money.
I owned Gary's Mod before that whole kerfuffle, so...
Oh, God, get back on your fixie and drive away.
I can't, because it's broken, because I got hit by a car.
Good luck. Natural Selection 2's in there, and Gmod, as they said, the G-string, Pedro's favorite game, and Jordan's favorite game, Serious Sam 3, BFE. Yeah.
The Browning.
The Browning. But yeah, speaking of brown, or at least dark brown, we have the Dark Mod, which is a runner-up on the Mod of the Year 2013. So if you'd like to see those guys,
you better be listening live.
Linux,
because you get 2 days, 20 hours, 51
presented
minutes.
by Origin, the best ever.
The keeper of all things open source and DRM free.
That actually explains a lot about Desura.
But if you don't know anything about the Dark Mod, you should, because it has went completely standalone. You do not need any of the original art assets to play it. It's based on the Doom 3 engine.
Which is open source.
Yeah, it's basically Thief, but with more Doom 3. So...
Yes. And it's probably going to be better than the Thief game they're announcing for next year, which if you were watching the VGX before this, you know what we're talking about.
So that's the thing. Yeah. Get over there and give them some boats if you love them. Now, remember how this game was just so easy to get in?
Oh yeah, you had to provide your social insurance number. You had to jump. You had to go petition them, fill out all the paperwork in triplicate, wait 6 weeks, and then give them oral sex, and then they'd consider
this entire time
a Desura key.
Yeah, right. You're thinking that, okay, you must have some complex system. You're like, no, it's a Desura key. He's like, you motherfucker, really?
Yeah.
So that actually got our policy of, like, soon as people start saying, well, you need your just send us the fucking keys. Done. Yes. We do have to thank them for that. No, when I originally looked at this image, it looked like maybe there was a developer that was no longer on the team, and they kind of got shipped out.
They kind of shopped them out. But no, it's just a sign. If you actually click on the image, it takes you to the site where you can see the whole thing, and they're just holding up the sign. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they changed it.
See, I prefer the other version better.
So this is Teslagrad. It's pretty decent. You can grab the demo for the Linux. It's good.
It's bun-zipped. So it's a very good compression algorithm, LZMA2.
And it's going to be released on the 13th of December 2013 because they don't have a 13th month. Otherwise, they would have gone there.
But what about Decemberary?
Oh, right. I forgot. Decemberary, obviously.
So that's the thing. You're wondering what it is. It's a little puzzle platformer set in Soviet Russia.
Russia.
It's good.
And you play as a tiny Nikola Tesla of sorts.
Very much hand-drawn graphics. Yeah.
Yes.
Very much minus the crippling obsessive compulsive disorder that Senor Tesla had. Because
Yep.
you can only move in increments of 3. You can only jump 3 times. All the levels, the numbers have to add up to 3.
OCD the
Oh,
platformer.
man.
That'd be great. You got to stop, wash your hands. You know, you can't open the doors except like your sleeves. It'd be brilliant.
Yeah. But speaking of the spike of VGX, a game we covered this year actually won Best PC Game.
Yeah.
Gone Home, of all things, that 2-chair game that ends in a fucking
Not really a
non-ending.
game.
It's not really a game. That's just the thing.
You know, I'm glad to go ahead.
And then the Stanley Parable didn't
Yeah.
win, which makes me sad.
Well, what
Yeah.
else didn't win that should have won?
Oh man.
P-Man.
What?
What game should have won for a first-person shooter but didn't?
Metro.
Last line. Russian.
But
Partium.
as we said,
Yeah,
it was
we're
up against brown people murder simulators,
Yes.
so it had no chance. It was creative, a little artsy, and it
And
even had like,
Bioshock 1 and stuff.
It had communists and Nazis.
and yes. Ah,
What now? It's
So-
Gone Home. It won Indie Game and PC Game of the Year because having lesbians in your game trumps good game design and, well, just being generally a game. So
And,
there
you
you
know,
have it, indie developers.
Having
want
an
to-
ending, really, that's my main gripe with Gone Home, is that it pulls despite being a game about lesbians, it pulls you around by the dick for about 90 minutes, 3 hours, however long you spend on the game, and then it doesn't have the decency to jerk you off.
Well, it has lesbian implications, as the case may be. So there you have it, indie developers. You want to have your game win Best PC Game according to VGX? Put lesbians in it.
I really hope that
Elder Scrolls 6, the lesbianing.
and as Jordan said, I mean,
Make it happen.
as Jordan pointed out, there's a right reason and a wrong reason to hate this game. The right reason is because it's a shit game. The wrong reason, I mean, LGBT and all that stuff's fabulous, but that doesn't sell me on a game if it's shit. Huh?
Yeah. There's so much politicized bullshit around it that it's really distracting from the fact that it's not a fun game. It's not even a
not
game.
even a game. That's the thing. I mean, don't get me wrong. We here at LGC, we hate everyone equally. Whether you like men, whether you like women, whether you like
or
dogs.
even if you like Pedro.
We don't give a shit. What we give a shit are games, and this is not a fucking game. Get off my lawn.
What do you think this is?
A game. And that's going to wrap us up for the news section.
Coming up next, we throw some chairs at a very, very pointless exercise in futility. And welcome back. Today we're throwing chairs at Signal Ops, developed by Space Bullet Dynamics Corporation. That's written in Panda 3D, which is actually Python based. So one of the I think this is actually the first Python game we've reviewed on this system. So
Yep.
You can pick it up for $14.99 or €13.99 or 2,599,862 billion Zimbabwe pesos or whatever the hell it is.
Dollars.
According to the description, are you ready to be put to the test? If deemed worthy, you will be signed an officer. The shadowy halls of Facility 7C. Ooh, sounds sexy. You will remotely lead a squad of operatives on daring espionage missions to plant evidence, steal secrets, assassinate targets, and perform sabotage, all for the glory of Dark Father.
And you know,
Which
want to know something?
which I think sounds a little bit racist.
Just a bit of trivia regarding Panda 3D. You know who's funding that? Disney.
Wow, who cares?
Who the hell cares?
Anyways, for those of you who haven't been here before, we need our chair explanation.
Cue the chair explanation.
One chair means it's shit. Two chairs means that it's three chairs means that it's pretty good, and four chairs means that it's orgasmatronic. We also have our 4 categories, which we use our chairs to rate things on. Categories of doom are: mix with the working. Does it work? Does it work well? Shiny and sounds. Does it look nice? Does it sound nice? Controls are controls, and fun is fun. And if you can't figure those last 2 out, then leave. Anyways,
Right
so
now.
for Signal Ops, this very, very bizarre ass motherfucking game, then did it make with the working?
Did it make with the working? Well, I have to say, unlike some people, I had no issues running it on a vanilla Ubuntu 1204 LTS, NVIDIA-powered test box and minimum system requirements. Take a shot, because it is 4 chairs. J-Man.
Yeah, I worked on my Fedora system, AMD processor, NVIDIA 670 superclocked. Yeah, no issues. 4 chairs.
And it goes downhill quick.
Yeah, so on the calculator, that's an i3 2.4 gigahertz, 8 gigs of RAM, and an AMD 5650 HD running Corora 19 Bruce. And
Good eye, Bruce. Hello, Bruce.
Hi, Bruce.
with multiple monitors, the game had a teeny tiny bug that wouldn't allow it to even start before it was patched, or you would go hunting for the config file and disabled full screen, because that's the only way it ran. And the sole reason that Jordan gave it 4 chairs is because he only installed the game after that patch went through.
Yeah.
2
man,
chairs for me.
I
And
was
it
actually
gets
tempted
2
to ding
chairs because the developer went so far as to recommend I use the wine version. There will be a
Ooh.
link in the show notes for that particular thread.
Well, actually, I was actually tempted to ding it a chair just because if you all tab out of it, it glitches out. But that's kind of par for the course for a lot of these Linux games. But anyways, that is 3 chairs on average for mix with the working. Next up is shiny and sounds, the visual and auditory aesthetics, but not the olfactory aesthetics, as I was going to say, because this game really does stink. But Ven, shiny and sounds.
Shiny and sounds. Let's take a look at the video here. Graphics, yeah, they're meh, because I say that lovingly. I really try to see where they're going with the art style, trying to dig it hard, but it only dug a grave. Could never click with me. I mean, it just seemed kind of lazy at points with some of the models. Voice work, surprisingly, meh plus. Definitely on that. It's not complete shit. Now, the actual content of said voice work, we'll have to get into that a bit later. But for shiny and sounds, you know, that's our matcha right there. Dos chat.
Yeah, I was actually really impressed with the voice acting in this game. Props for being decently voice acted. The game does look like shit, though. I get they're trying to do like a unique art style, but it doesn't work. It sucks. It looks like crap on my 770 or on my 670 superclocked. Ven is the one with the 770. I was just staring at it in the freaking Canada Computers catalog because it's $300, and I really need to stop myself from buying it. But anyways, yeah, I'm gonna give this game 2 chairs for the looks and sounds. The voice acting is nice. I like what they're trying to do with the humor. It was kind of forced at times, but It's
Just
not
a bit.
3 chairs. It's not 1 chair. So it's flat in the middle there. Pedro.
Yeah, I kind of have to agree. And the character movement is choppy as balls. I mean, it could be the calculator,
Probably.
but the graphics are pretty low res, so I'm not sure. And again, voice acting in this game, thumbs up. Real good job. And I do like the presentation of the game. I mean, the graphics and what they try to do with it, it's like you're playing a game. It's someone that's playing with soldiers' lives. It's sort of a social,
Wow.
political statement on the games industry as a whole. And I could see it. Unfortunately, the execution
bullshit.
was not so
What
good.
does this have to do with the looks and the sounds?
2 chairs.
2 chairs. That's 2 chairs
Yep.
on across the board for Signal Ops. So now the clusterfuck begins. Controls, Ben. I hear you have some things to say about this.
Controls. Now, looking at the video, you might assume that controls could not be that damn difficult. You'd be wrong. Gamepad support. If I politely called it, as I did here in the show notes, a jumbled mess, I'd be right. Excluding controller. At first, when I start a Linux any title, especially under Steam, this is always sitting over here. I'll reach over and literally poke at a button or two and say, is that doing anything? I was like, oh, it is. This one, it moved a bit. And I was like, all right. Tried it, then I found move, and I was like, oh, this is not necessarily a first-person shooter. I might be able to get away with a lean-back controller experience. Then I ran into the fuck-mothering door. I was like, right.
Scroll wheel.
I was like,
Yes.
that's
Because you use the scroll wheel to open
you're
doors.
doing something wrong in the game when you've resorted to going like this on all the buttons
Nothing
just to
happens.
see if anything would move. Then I finally resorted doing that. Keyboard plus gerbil, the only way to go, but the default keyboard layout is completely mental. And just going through the tutorials, I was taking notes. It's like, so I got to move this guy. You left click twice, right click once, space bar E, one, right. It hurt my brain organ too bad, so you only get 1 chair.
Yeah. These controls are really ass backwards. Or bass backwards, as I put in the show notes.
Cruel and unusual punishment.
Oh my! I even so I saw this as like a first-person game, so I'm like, okay, I gotta go with keyboard and mouse. And within 5 minutes of me playing through the fucking tutorial, I found myself mashing on the keyboard trying to figure out what does what, because gee, and the fucking the control options in the menu doesn't help either. It's like, okay. You have to use the
What
scroll
does
wheel
that
to open
do?
doors. Space is your interact button. It's just all over the place, and there's so much context sensitivity for these controls that something you think works doesn't work. When you're going through the training missions trying to command your dudes, you're supposed to like control more than one person at a time. It doesn't even work half the time.
So you're saying 20% of the time?
20% of the time, it works 100% of the time. But yeah, 1 chair for controls. What the fuck?
The game. All right.
Yeah, on my end, I didn't even try to use this thing because it was pointless.
For your audio listeners, that he was holding
I
his...
do have to add, I eventually did try it with the Xbox controller. No. Yeah, no.
Yeah, so the first thing I do whenever I start a new game is go to the options menu and go to the controls. Why?
Evolution.
Because, see this? This is my right hand. I cannot use, a mouse with this. So I need the arrow keys. And thankfully, this game actually allowed me to bind the arrow keys to move my character around. And so I went through the control section and I didn't have as much trouble as Ven and Jordan did. Except for one thing. The game comes configured with the Alt key to enable you hold the Alt key to enable the cursor in game. Now try holding the Alt key under Linux and then clicking on a window with it. See what that does. Shit's not gonna fly around here. And this is probably the first game that I actually had to increase the sensitivity on my gerbil here. And I ended up realizing that it's best to just leave the sliders around halfway up and use this button right here to toggle the DPIs to a higher value, because that's the only way it was even manageable. So for me, it gets 2 chairs.
Very generous from Pedro, but it's still 1 chairs for the controls. Now for our final subjective category, fun. Yeah, spoiler alert. Ben, did you have fun?
Fun. Well, I think, J-Man, you're going to be able to back me up on this during your segment, but literally I'd clock 30 minutes on the game because I paused it. I took a moment to take a break because I was like, this is taking for fuck mothering ever. And then I looked at the clock and I was like, I've been playing this game for 30 fucking minutes and I haven't played the game yet. I'm still walking around in this tutorial bullshit. I didn't get a copy of Manual Simulator. No, seriously, just write this shit out. I'm not necessarily a clever man, but I can figure this stuff. I can read. I don't need, 30 minutes. I squirreled out too many times during that. And when it comes out to the fun, I get what the game is about and how to do it. It seems overly complex, and the forced humor is, and I was like, you want to see something that's like genuinely witty and funny, Stanley Parable. That's witty and funny. Yes. This, like I said, the voice acting, all right. Content, they're just too heavy-handed with this. Like, didn't even get a chuckle out of me. So for the fun category, let's be fair, let's be honest with ourselves. This is a 1-chair game.
Yeah, I'm pretty much going to have to agree with Ben on this. The game is boring. I noped out of the tutorial because I can't figure out what the fuck is going on half the time. And half the time the controls aren't even working. So I don't know what kind of fucking madman at Disney decided this is a game worth investing money in. I don't know. Maybe Mickey was doing quite a bit of coke and saw this and it's like, oh, that's some good shit. You should fund this game. Oh, because in my mind, South Park is reality, of course. But yeah, I barely made it 20 minutes and just start to finish gameplay. 1 chair.
Yeah, I kind of have to agree with you guys on this one. It's not what I was expecting. I was expecting something along the lines of Commandos 3 with a slightly more stylized graphics, But instead, I got Frozen Synapse with textures. 1 chair. Because I did not like Frozen Synapse.
All right, so that concludes our review section of the review segment. So 1 chair for fun. So I'm just going to tell this up. This is a 1-chair game. Do not buy this game. We got free keys for this. We're going to be perfectly honest. You have no reason to pick up this game whatsoever. It is shit. It is crap. Do not buy it. Do not even look at it. It's horrible, horrible, horrible stuff.
Wait a minute. What if we're buying gifts for people we don't like this Christmas?
Okay, you can get them this
I
game.
just send them bombs.
Hi, NSA.
You can get them this
Hi,
game.
NSA.
But I wait for the winter sale to come along before you buy this game for your worst enemy or something. Just don't buy it full price. Just
actually, you know what? If you wanted to give a gift for your worst enemy, you could go up to them and kick them in the balls, and it would be more entertaining for them than this game.
Yeah.
Or kick them in the vag, whatever. I don't
As
know
the
who
case
these
may
people
be.
sent
You got
these
some
are.
badge.
Some is it is that when you're doing a crippled person so they can't get away?
Yes, right. What do we got coming up next, J-Man?
Coming up next, we have your hate mail live on air.
And it's that time of the week where we read your hate mail. But before we get to that, let's do a little PSA, since apparently some of you have yet to realize that if you're trying to get your goddamn crowdfunded Steam Greenlight whatever game to be featured on the show, you seem to forget to include a link to a playable prototype, demo, whatever you want to call it.
See, we need to know that it actually works under Linux. Otherwise, we're not going to cover it. That's kind of our thing. We've gone over it hundreds of thousands of times, again and again
So
and
how
again,
can they scream
hoping
at
to
us?
drill it into your skulls.
Yeah, they can just scream at us by going to linuxgamecast.com and pressing that magnificent contact button
Cleverly
right there on the
disguised.
top bar. And you give us your name, you give us your email, you give us the subject, and your message. Again, if you're trying to promote your game, link a prototype. Then just prove you're smarter than a bot and push that wonderful send button. And then, what have people sent our way this week?
Well, this comes from Haywood. He's talking about hi. Talking about Dead Sky. He says, well, you remember, was it last week or week before?
Yeah, I think it was last week.
Yeah.
We were talking about Dead Sky and some of the issues we had with it, pretty much the game itself as a whole, but he writes, lucky you guys could even connect to each other. I forwarded the port, disabled all the firewalls on my router and my PC, and I still cannot connect to any server. Just says, failed to connect. Manjaro. X64. Arch! So,
It's too complicated for your average
well,
user.
you do got to remember in that video, because I posted that in their forums, and the developers jumped in and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, could you test this and test this? And I was like, no, I fucking can. I gave you money for the damn game. You go and test this and fix this shit.
Yep.
But that 10-minute segment, what you didn't see was like the 2 hours that we spent getting that.
Yeah, we actually brute forced everything. I don't even remember what we ended up doing in order to get that to work.
Yeah. I could only log in if Jordan wasn't logged into the server.
And then I
even
couldn't
then-
log in if Pedro was logged in. So.
It was pretty miserable. I mean, yeah, hey, man, I feel you on that. I'm no shock that you were unable to connect at all, because we like you said, spent 2 hours before we finally got the moon magic just so. And
Yeah.
Right.
we're like, woohoo, let's play through. And it's like, God, we 2 hours we spent for this. All right, that's why we were really happy when we recorded. So, J-Man.
Monster
I believe-
Cameron is talking about spec. He says, Jordan, your A10 has a VLIW based IGP, so the R600 drivers would not apply to the Radeon SI for the GCN based 7000 series.
What's he
Well,
talking about this for?
This is regarding the open source drivers getting 75% performance boost on TF2, bringing it up to a whopping
Yes.
30 frames a second.
The Radeon
On-
SI branch.
Yes, on the Radeon SI branch. And while I may have been incorrect, I still exist in the land of supported hardware, so it's not my problem. Next.
Yep. And other than that, we have the reason as to why I made sure to point
Because
out
reading
that
is hard.
people should give us prototypes of their game, because Sazu Kempainen, reading equals hard, because for him reading is very hard. And he says, my name is Sazu Kempainen, and I'm a game designer at Team Jolly Roger. We've just
Yarr.
submitted our first big game, whatever that game is. Since it will also be available on Linux, I thought you may be interested. Currently in alpha testing, Windows version and Mac version. Well, you little shithead, not only did you not provide us with a working prototype, apparently you don't even have the game working under Linux. And
Pedro, he just wanted to know. I mean, he was just sharing, because maybe they'll get around to starting Linux test.
They'll get a volunteer to port it.
Yeah, probably.
Skullgirls!
And we, around these ports, we don't do half-bidden globoids or wall-mounted glass frames. So unless you got something that runs on the Penguin, there's the door.
Yeah, the only thing I can think to do at this point is to add a blink tag to this.
You need some marquee tags, man. It needs to go from left to right.
That's really maybe if it blinks. Then...
maybe add in a check for a Kickstarter and a link.
Oh.
Go all Google on this and just start scanning the emails before submitted. It's like, oh, well.
The main reason that this whole policy was even started in Genesis was we were on some type of Kickstarter. I mean, we were getting 20 Kickstarter emails a week. They're like, oh, this is coming out, and Linux, we heard about it somewhere. Yes. Yes,
it's a Unity game, so we can click export or something, right?
Yeah.
We're not sure about that, but yes. And then I was like, no. And I got tired of writing back. And I was like, no. So, yeah, dude. Definitely. No. If you're not doing all of your development all at the same time, it's going to be shit. Period.
Yep.
It is. We've seen it too many times too.
You use just cross-platform tools. There's a lot of good ones out there.
Yeah. And now even more. That Steam is developing a debugger for Linux, so you literally have absolutely no excuse.
Oh, they'll come up with one.
Indeed. But you know what? We need to take a moment of silence.
Why?
Just a moment.
Just a moment.
Just a teensy tiny moment.
Just a bit.
Just a smidgen.
Why is that?
Just the tip. Just the tip.
Just a tip.
Okay. I'm done.
All right. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm. So you going to tell us about all the things after we
Cue the
music.
Or
yes, time to rub our nipples. And you can watch that rubbing at linuxgamecast.com/podcast, where, as I said at the beginning of the episode, we have handy stocking guides, RSS feeds for SD video, HD video, and SD audio, Amazon affiliate links, donate buttons, a wall of shame for people who actually fund this train wreck.
Brilliant.
And we also have our forums, Chat Realm statically linked, where we are the other 60 days of the weeks. Yes.
weeks.
The
pluralize
diametric
that
opposite of
thing.
Chat Realm Dynamic Linked, which is on Freenode under #LGC Weekly. YouTube.com/LinuxGameCast has all our YouTube.com/LinuxGameCast has all our videos. We got how-tos, players, all that stuff, and this podcast. Though while you're watching a podcast on YouTube is beyond me.
This is also beyond me.
Facebook page run by Mexicans. You should buy some oranges off that.
Leave us a like. Wait, no, that's Russian. Never mind. Carry on.
Yeah, Linux.com or Linux.com. Reddit.com/r/Linux_gaming. Linux.com/Reddit. Yes. Where it's so many ponies. Oh my god. I'm just vomiting rainbows right now. And finally, I am Jordan Swung. You can find me at The Burning Fool on Twitter or plus Jordan Swung on the Google Plus.
I am Peter Matheus. You can find me at Unaccounted For on Twitter or plus Peter Matheus on Google Plus.
Cleverly disguised Vinstone is cleverly disguised at Vinstone on the Twitter nets and plus Vinstone on the G pluses. So this has been another fabulous cocaine-infused Voltron edition of Linux GameCast Weekly. So I guess there's really only one thing to do. Is
Snort a bunch of cocaine.
no. Toast the lovely people.
Skull.
I don't have my cup.
Well, too fucking bad.